As the day comes to a gentle close, and the world begins to soften around you, I want to thank you truly for being here. You're listening to Sleep Story by Robert Corey, and it's an honor to share this quiet space with you. Whether this is your first time, or one of many nights we've spent together, I'm deeply grateful you've chosen to let my voice accompany you into rest. You don't need to do anything right now. There are no expectations, no demands, just this moment, just your breath, and the soft weight of the night settling around you. Let yourself sink into comfort. Feel the bed beneath you, steady and warm, like the soft earth in the heart of a quiet forest. Take a slow breath in and gently let it go. Allow your shoulders to release, your jaw to soften, your thoughts to wander wherever they please. You've already done enough for today. The world can wait. Now, imagine yourself in a forest far away, one you've never truly left. A forest where the wind moves gently through tall trees, and each sound is soft, slow, and familiar. A place untouched by urgency, where even the memories walk barefoot. Tonight, I'll read you a story. A slow, reflective journey called The Forest We Once Promised. It's a story about turnabout, silence, memory, and the quiet paths we carry within us. There's no need to stay awake for it all. Just let the words drift around you. Let your breath steady. Let your body rest. I'll be here, guiding you gently with every sentence until you fall asleep. Thomas stood on the worn path leading to the cabin. The air was cool and carried the scent of pine and damp earth. It had been decades since he last walked this way, but every step brought memories forward, slow and soft, like the rustling of leaves in a gentle breeze. The forest seemed unchanged, yet somehow different, as if it had been waiting for him to come back. He remembered the long summer afternoons spent sitting on the porch, the laughter of Lily ringing through the trees. Those days felt distant, yet alive in the quiet spaces between each breath he took. He reached the cabin door and ran his hand over the weathered wood, feeling the rough grain beneath his fingertips. The cabin had aged, but so had he, and somehow they both held the same quiet dignity. Inside, the cabin was cool and still. Dust particles floated in the beams of late afternoon light. Thomas's footsteps echoed softly on the wooden floor. He paused near the fireplace, imagining the warmth it once gave them on cold winter nights. He moved toward the window where Lily used to read aloud, her voice filling the room with stories and comfort. Sitting down on the floor, Thomas let the silence settle around him. The forest outside whispered its ancient song, and he felt the weight of years lift gently from his shoulders. Reaching beneath a loose floorboard, he found the familiar tin box wrapped in faded cloth. Inside was the letter he had never opened, the last words Lily had written before she disappeared. With a slow breath, Thomas unfolded the fragile paper, letting the past and present meet in the quiet of the cabin. Thomas traced his fingers over the delicate paper, feeling the texture of the letter as if it carried a whisper of Lily's voice. The ink had faded slightly, but the words remained clear. Each sentence, a small window into a moment frozen in time. He read slowly, letting the letter settle in his mind, like the soft falling of autumn leaves. Lily's handwriting was familiar, yet distant. She wrote of dreams they once shared, of the forest that held their memories, and of a promise they made one to return, no matter where life took them. The letter spoke of hope, of sorrow, and the quiet strength found in acceptance. As Thomas sat there, the cabin around him seemed to breathe with the stories held in those words. Outside, the wind shifted, carrying the faint scent of pine and earth through the cracked window. The forest was listening, patient and eternal. The letter was not just a message, it was a bridge between past and present, between two souls separated by time but bound by a silent promise. Thomas folded the letter carefully and placed it back in the tin box. He felt a gentle resolve growing within him. This journey was far from over. He rose slowly, his joints reminding him of years past, but his steps were steady as he moved toward the door, ready to walk the forest paths once more. The trees whispered secrets only the patient could hear, and Thomas was ready to listen. The forest welcomed Thomas like an old friend, its towering pines standing tall and silent around him. Each step on the soft earth was deliberate, slow, no rush to anywhere but forward. Sunlight filtered through the canopy, casting patches of gold that danced with the gentle breeze. He remembered how, as a child, he used to race along these very paths with Lily. Now, the sounds of their laughter felt like echoes carried on the wind, soft and distant, but never gone. The moss beneath his feet was thick and cool, cushioning his steps, inviting him to slow down even more. Thomas stopped near a giant cedar, its bark rough and patterned like the wrinkles on his own hands. He reached out and laid his palm flat against the trunk, feeling the pulse of life within. It was steady, strong, timeless. In that moment, he felt connected not just to the tree, but to everything the forest held, the memories, the promises, the years of waiting. The forest was a keeper of stories, and tonight, Thomas was ready to listen. With each breath, he let the past and present blend, walking gently through the quiet sanctuary of old giants. As Thomas continued deeper into the forest, the sounds around him grew softer only, the gentle rustle of leaves above, and the distant murmur of the creek. Each breath he took was calm and steady, syncing with the rhythm of the trees swaying overhead. He found a fallen log covered in moss and sat down, letting the cool green cushion cradle him. Closing his eyes, he listened closely to the whispers carried by the breeze, the language of leaves brushing softly against one another, telling stories of seasons past and promises kept. In this quiet, Thomas felt a deep peace settle within him. The worries of the world, the weight of time, all melted away like morning mist. Here, in the heart of the forest, he was not just a man returning home. He was part of something larger, timeless, cycle of growth, rest, and renewal. Opening his eyes, he gazed upward through the branches. The sky was a pale blue, soft and infinite, and for the first time in many years, Thomas smiled gently, knowing that this journey was healing more than just old memories. As the sun began to dip behind the hills, the forest transformed. Golden light filtered softly through the trees, casting long shadows that stretched like quiet whispers across the forest floor. Thomas felt the cool air settle around him, a gentle reminder that the day was drawing to a close. He wandered toward a small clearing where wildflowers nodded in the evening breeze, their colors muted but still alive in the fading light. The scent of earth and pine mingled with the subtle sweetness of blossoms, creating a balm for the soul. Sitting down once again, Thomas wrapped his arms around his knees and gazed upward. The sky above slowly shifted from blue to a soft lavender, then to deep indigo sprinkled with the first stars. The forest's evening song, a chorus of crickets and distant owls, began to fill the air. In this quiet moment, Thomas allowed himself to simply be. No regrets, no questions, just the calm embrace of the night, and the knowledge that he was exactly where he needed to be. Night settled gently over the forest, wrapping everything in a soft, dark blanket. Thomas stood quietly in the clearing, his eyes slowly adjusting to the dim light. Above him, the first stars began to twinkle, small, distant fires burning softly in the vast sky. The cool night air brushed against his skin, carrying with it the faint scent of pine and earth. It was a different kind of silence, now deeper, more complete, yet somehow alive with the subtle hum of nocturnal life waking up. Thomas took a slow, deep breath and let the calm of the night fill him. He felt a connection stretching beyond himself, reaching into the endless universe above and the roots beneath his feet. The stars were steady witnesses to his journey, silent companions guiding him through the quiet. As he gazed upward, a sense of peace settled over him like a gentle tide. No words were needed here, just the soft light of stars and the quiet rhythm of his own heartbeat. The forest at night was a world, transforms, shadows deep and velvety, sounds hushed and distant. Thomas moved slowly through the trees, guided by the silver light of the moon that filtered softly through the branches. Each step was deliberate, as if the earth itself was welcoming him back. The cool air carried the faint songs of crickets and the occasional call of an owl far away. The scent of pine needles and damp moss was sharp and refreshing in the quiet darkness. Thomas felt the weight of the day lift from his shoulders, replaced by a deep, gentle calm. He found a mossy patch beneath a great fir and sat down, leaning back against the trunk. The bark was rough but steady, grounding him to the moment. Looking up, he watched the dance of shadows and moonlight above, feeling the forest's soft embrace wrap around him like a comforting blanket. Here, in the stillness of night, Thomas allowed himself to simply rest. No past, no future, just the gentle presence of the forest holding him safe. The next morning, Thomas woke to soft light filtering through the trees. The forest was still and peaceful, as if it too was slowly waking. He followed a narrow path lined with ferns and wildflowers, feeling the coolness of the earth beneath his boots. Each step was slow, deliberate, a meditation in motion. The quiet path led him deeper into the heart of the forest, where time seemed to flow differently, gentle and unhurried. The morning light filtered softly through the canopy of leaves, casting a warm, dappled glow on the forest floor. Thomas laced his boots carefully, feeling the comforting weight of the leather and the earth beneath. The forest around him stirred gently, birds beginning their morning songs as a breeze rustled through the branches. The path ahead was narrow and winding, lined with thick ferns and wildflowers still glistening with dew. It felt like the forest itself was welcoming him forward, inviting him deeper into its heart. Step by step, Thomas moved slowly, deliberately, each footfall a meditation on presence and calm. The world outside this forest, the noise, the rush felt far away here. Each breath was fresh, clean, filled with the subtle scent of pine and moist earth. He noticed the small details, a spider's web glistening with morning dew, a chipmunk darting between tree roots, the soft crunch of fallen leaves beneath his feet. This was a place where time felt different, gentle, unhurried, a space where he could simply be. As he walked, memories began to rise softly, like whispers carried on the wind. He recalled childhood days spent exploring these very trails, the laughter of Lily beside him, their hands brushing against wildflowers, their voices mingling with the song of the forest. These moments were tender and distant, but never forgotten. The quiet path became a bridge between past and present, a place where Thomas could honor those memories without pain, simply with gratitude. By the time the sun rose higher, warming the forest floor, Thomas reached a small clearing bathed in golden light. He paused, breathing in deeply, feeling the peace that had settled into his bones. The forest had a way of slowing time and healing hearts. On this quiet path, Thomas felt the gentle unfolding of something new, hope wrapped in stillness, and the promise of a fresh beginning. Following the gentle murmur carried by the breeze, Thomas made his way toward the sound of flowing water. The forest thickened here, the trees standing close together like silent guardians, their branches forming a cathedral of green overhead. As he moved closer, the soft babble of a creek grew louder, soothing melody that seemed to call him home. The cool air was tinged with the fresh scent of wet stone and moss, inviting him to pause and listen. When he reached the stream, he knelt beside it, dipping his fingers into the cool, clear water. The liquid slipped through his fingers like a quiet secret, flowing effortlessly over smooth stones worn by time. He watched as small ripples carried leaves and petals gently downstream, reminding him of life's continual motion unceasing, yet gentle in its persistence. The sound of water was a lullaby, washing away the noise of worries and the rush of days past. Thomas closed his eyes for a moment, letting the peaceful rhythm of the creek fill his mind. The water's steady flow mirrored the quiet steadiness he sought within himself, the calm under the surface that carried him through storms. In that stillness, memories floated softly, the warmth of Lily's hand in his. The shared dreams whispered beside this very stream long ago. Those memories weren't heavy burdens. Here, they were gentle companions. Rising slowly, Thomas took one last breath of the crisp forest air before continuing on. The creek's song lingered in his ears, a reminder that even the smallest streams have strength, and that life, like water, always finds a way forward. This moment by the water was a quiet blessing, a step deeper into healing and hope. A delicate mist began to rise as the morning warmed, weaving through the trees like a soft veil. The forest was cloaked in a gentle haze, blurring the edges of the world and turning familiar shapes into shadows of dreams. Thomas breathed in the cool, damp air, feeling it fill his lungs with a fresh calm. The mist transformed the forest into a place both mysterious and comforting, where the past and present seemed to dance together in quiet harmony. As he walked slowly along the winding path, the fog seemed to wrap around him, softening the sounds and sights of the forest. Every step felt like moving through a dream where memories shimmered just beyond reach. Thomas's thoughts drifted to Lily, their shared laughter, the quiet conversations beneath the stars, the promises made long ago. Those moments floated gently through the mist, no longer sharp or painful, but tender and distant, like the softest of whispers. The mist blurred the boundaries between then and now, allowing Thomas to embrace his memories without fear. He realized that the forest, with all its changing seasons and shifting light, was much like life itself, ever-changing, yet always beautiful. Each memory, like the morning mist, had its place, fleeting but meaningful, delicate but real. Here, wrapped in the embrace of the fog, he felt a deep peace settle within him. Pausing beside a moss-covered stone, Thomas closed his eyes and let the cool air soothe his mind. The mist was a reminder that even when things seem unclear or uncertain, there is beauty and softness in the unknown. With a slow breath, he opened his eyes to the forest's softened glow, feeling ready to move forward, carrying both his memories and hope with gentle grace. Deeper into the woods, Thomas arrived at a quiet clearing where ancient trees stood like sentinels, their thick trunks wrapped in emerald moss. The air here was rich and alive, filled with the earthy scent of pine needles and damp soil. Sunlight poured in through gaps in the canopy, casting warm golden pools on the forest floor. This place felt sacred, as if it held the very heartbeat of the forest itself, a timeless sanctuary where past and present converged. Thomas settled onto a soft bed of moss, feeling its coolness seep into his skin. Around him, the gentle rustling of leaves and distant bird calls formed a natural symphony, inviting stillness and reflection. He closed his eyes and imagined the countless seasons these trees had witnessed, the births and endings, the quiet growth beneath their boughs. In this serene moment, he sensed the flow of life itself, steady and unwavering, weaving him into the vast tapestry of existence. As the warmth of the sun brushed his face, Thomas thought about the journey that had led him here, the memories of Lily, the letter, the long walk through the forest. The clearing was more than a physical place. It was a symbol of healing and connection, a reminder that life's cycles endure beyond loss and change. He felt gratitude swell quietly in his chest, a gentle acknowledgement of the resilience within himself and the natural world. Slowly, Thomas rose, carrying the peace of the clearing with him like a quiet flame. The heart of the forest had offered him a gift, the understanding that even in stillness there is strength, and in solitude a profound sense of belonging. With calm steps, he continued his path, feeling a renewed sense of hope as the forest whispered its timeless truths around him. As the sun began to dip lower in the sky, Thomas found himself once again near the small cabin where his journey had begun. The soft glow of dusk bathed the landscape in warm hues of pink, orange, and lavender, blending gently into the deepening shadows of the forest. Sitting on the worn wooden steps, he let his thoughts settle, reflecting quietly on the day's journey through memory and nature. The stillness around him invited introspection. Thomas thought about the many moments he had experienced, the gentle flow of the creek, the whispering leaves, the ancient trees that had shared their silent strength. Each encounter had been a thread woven into the fabric of his healing, a reminder that even amidst loss, life held beauty and meaning. He felt a tender gratitude for the peace that had begun to root itself in his heart. The cool evening air carried the faint scent of pine and earth, mingling with the subtle fragrance of wildflowers nearby. Thomas closed his eyes and breathed deeply, allowing the calmness to fill every part of him. The worries and regrets that once weighed heavy now seemed distant, softened by the quiet presence of the forest and the gentle rhythm of the fading day. As twilight deepened, Thomas opened his eyes to the first stars appearing in the darkening sky. He smiled softly, feeling a sense of completion, a quiet, knowing that this journey was part of something larger, an unfolding story of healing, hope, and connection. With the night approaching, he rose and prepared to rest, carrying the calm of the evening gently within him. Night had settled fully over the forest, and the sky stretched wide and deep above the cabin, a tapestry of stars twinkling softly in the darkness. Thomas lay back on the cool grass, his eyes tracing constellations that shimmered faintly against the velvet sky. The vastness of the universe felt both humbling and comforting, a reminder that he was a small but meaningful part of something infinitely greater. The gentle chorus of nocturnal life filled the air, the chirping of crickets, the distant hoot of an owl, the soft rustle of leaves stirred by a light breeze. Each sound blended into a soothing melody that wrapped around Thomas like a warm blanket. In this peaceful night, time seemed to stretch and slow, offering a quiet space where worries dissolved and the mind could finally rest. Thoughts of Lily drifted gently through his mind like the stars above, bright, enduring, and distant yet close in spirit. The memories no longer carried sharp edges but glowed softly, like a constellation guiding him forward. Thomas felt a profound sense of belonging, not just to the forest or the cabin, but to the endless cycle of life and the cosmos beyond. As he breathed in the cool night air, a calm settled deep within him, steady and sure. Here, beneath the stars, he allowed himself to simply be free from past burdens, embraced by the vast quiet of the universe. The night promised rest, renewal, and the gentle unfolding of tomorrow's dawn. The night deepened, wrapping the forest in a soft, dark embrace. Thomas lay quietly beneath the canopy of stars, feeling the gentle pulse of the earth beneath him. The forest's lullaby, the whisper of leaves, the distant call of night birds, the steady breath of the night air wove a comforting rhythm around his heart. In this sacred stillness, he found a promise of rest not only for his body, but for his soul. His thoughts drifted gently toward the journey he had traveled, both through the forest and within himself. The memories, once heavy and raw, had softened into gentle lessons, reminders of love, loss, and the strength to move forward. The quiet strength of the forest, the endless cycle of nature, had mirrored his own path toward healing and peace. Here, wrapped in the night's embrace, he felt ready to let go of what no longer served him. As sleep began to weave its gentle threads, Thomas welcomed the calm that settled within. The promise of tomorrow glimmered softly on the horizon, carried on the breath of the night wind. In the safety of the forest, and beneath the endless sky, he allowed himself to rest, fully knowing that healing was a journey, one step at a time, wrapped in the gentle flow of time. With a final deep breath, Thomas surrendered to the night's quiet embrace, letting the stars watch over him as he drifted into peaceful dreams. The forest held him safe, and in that safety he found a new beginning, soft, steady, and filled with hope.